Hello everybody, this is Wade from Wade's Movie World. Welcome to this video. As I told you, I was going to be doing some collection videos. Well, welcome to my Blu-ray collection video in which we're going to talk about all the Blu-rays I own. Some of them I already have on DVD, some of them I have multiple copies of. So that just tells you what kind of a movie nerd I really am. I enjoy making these videos, and I know I'm going to enjoy making this one. And plus, I hope it helps you guys, especially with what's going on currently in our world, and that this video can just kind of give you some time to clear all that out of your head and just talk movies with me and enjoy this video and just kind of get away from real life for a little bit. But anyway, so without further ado, we're going to dive right into this in 3, 2, 1, let's do it. This first movie came out in 2017, and it's based off of a 90s TV show that I watched. And the 90s TV show also had several made straight to DVD movies that did okay. They never did go to theaters. Most of them are kind of corny, but there's one I do own. And then they made this one to come to theaters in 2017 that starred Zac Efron and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and that is Baywatch. So it's kind of corny and stupid. It's got a lot of sexual references and some drug use and stuff like that. So this movie would not be good for children, but it is pretty much laugh out loud funny. A lot of people didn't like it. I liked it, and I hope they do a sequel to this Baywatch movie. So, yeah, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in Baywatch. This movie came out in, let's see if I can find a date for it. I don't see a date on this movie as to when it came out, but it was a fun, enjoyable movie. It was directed by Robert Zemeckis and was produced by Frank Marshall and Steven Spielberg and Kathleen Kennedy, and that is Who Framed Roger Rabbit? And that Jessica Rabbit, hubba. Ooh, yeah, great movie, funny movie. Steven Spielberg directed this movie in, I believe it was 91 or 92. It came to theaters, and yeah, it came out in 1991, and it was nominated for 5 Academy Awards, including Best Visual Effects. It starred Dustin Hoffman, Julia Roberts, and the late Robin Williams, rest in peace. And this movie doesn't get the credit it deserves. I love this movie. So what if Peter Pan grew up? Hook. Great childhood classic. I love this film. I haven't watched it yet on Blu-ray. As you can see, it's still in the shrink wrap, but overall, great film. I didn't get to see this movie in theaters. I remember seeing trailers of it and really liked the trailers, and I liked what it was going for. I bought it on Blu-ray. I haven't watched it yet, so I really can't comment on the movie itself just yet, but I hope to watch it here pretty soon, and that is Mark Wahlberg and Rose Byrne in Instant Family. And I like these kind of movies about family and growing up and life, and these kind of movies like Cheaper by the Dozen, Cheaper by the Dozen 2, Instant Family, and Yours, Mine, and Ours. I always like movies like that. They're a lot of fun and real sweet movies. So yeah, Instant Family. So this movie I went to see in theaters. I was really kicking and screaming going into this movie because I was like, you know, we already have the one movie with Jim Carrey. We don't really need another one. We know what it's about, and people know and love this character, especially around Christmas time. But I went ahead and saw this movie in theaters, and I'm so glad I did because I came out of that theater loving everything about this movie. And that is Benedict Cumberbatch voicing the Grinch. Fantastic movie, beautiful movie. Everything is beautiful about it. The voice actors, the look of the film is beautiful. The setting of the film is beautiful. The music is beautiful. Just everything about this film is beautiful. This past Christmas, we were all just kind of sitting around in the living room one night, and we wanted to watch a Christmas movie, and I was like, I got one. So I said, let's watch The Grinch. And my mom, dad, and brother, we sat down and we all watched it together, and all of them ended up liking it just like I did. So yeah, The Grinch. Okay, let's get into some real life stuff, or based on a true story stuff. This film was directed by Mel Gibson and starred Spider-Man Andrew Garfield from the Amazing Spider-Man films, about Private Desmond Doss from World War II, who was one of the first soldiers to ever not carry a gun into battle. I mean, he wouldn't even touch a gun. He was a medic, and up on Hacksaw Ridge, he saved countless lives, many, many lives, and he is a true American hero. And Mel Gibson, who directed things like Braveheart and The Passion of the Christ, just really did marvelous with this film. And it's based on a true story, Hacksaw Ridge. If you have not seen this movie and you like World War II and history and stuff like that, I guarantee you, you will love this movie. You need to give it a try. Hacksaw Ridge. Then we have another movie that's based on a true story during the, I don't remember what that period's called, but when black people and white people were having race issues in like the 1960s or 70s, starring Denzel Washington and Will Patton in a film that's based on a true story by Disney, Remember the Titans. More than just a football movie, it's got a great message in it. If you have not seen this movie, I guarantee you need to watch it. Okay, this movie was directed by Peter Berg and stars Mark Wahlberg. It also stars Kevin Bacon, John Goodman, J.K. Simmons, Michelle Monaghan, Condi Alexandra, and Melissa Benoist in the true story about the Boston Marathon bombing, Patriots Day. Great film. I love this movie. Tom Hanks plays Captain Chelsea Sully Sullenberger in a film about the Miracle on the Hudson, directed by Clint Eastwood. Sully. Wonderful movie. Just wonderful. This next movie really gives you a glimpse into the lives of soldiers and what they faced back in Afghanistan and Iraq after September 11th. And Kate Mara stars in this movie, and it's about a Marine by the name of Megan Levy, who becomes a Marine dog handler, who the dog sniffs out bombs and stuff like that, and it's just a wonderful film. And to anybody, before I show you this, what this is, to anyone out there who's watching this video who served in the U.S. military service, Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, our guardsmen. If I left a branch out, I apologize for that. But thank you so much for your service, and thank you for giving us the freedoms that we enjoy so much in this country. God bless you all. That film is Megan Levy. Great film. Jack, I'm flying. I want you to draw me like one of your French girls, wearing this, wearing only this. Winner of 11 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, a James Cameron film, Titanic. Wonderful movie. I saw this movie 6 times in theaters when it first came out, and then when they re-released it in 3D back in 2012, they released it back into theaters. I went and saw it 2 more times in theaters in 3D. So I've seen it a total of 8 times on the big screen. Titanic, wonderful film. Okay, let's go to some DCEU movies. The one that started it off, rebooting the Superman series, starring Henry Cavill, Amy Adams, Michael Shannon, Kevin Costner, Diane Lane, Lawrence Fishburne and Russell Crowe, directed by Zack Snyder. Man of Steel, beautiful Superman movie, action-packed Superman movie. Loved everything about it. Great, great, great Superman film. This movie received a lot of backlash. People just didn't like it. I didn't understand why people didn't like it. Yeah, it's kind of a jumbled up mess, but all in all, I think it serves its purpose, and it serves its purpose well. I loved this movie. I only saw it once in theaters. I will say I did like the theatrical edition, but the Ultimate Edition really rounds out the film. So, yeah, I can't say enough about this movie. Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. The very first time we've seen a live-action Batman and a live-action Superman on screen together. And this was also directed by Zack Snyder, the second movie in the DCEU universe. Also introduced Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Okay, then we have the solo film that came out in 2017, starring Gal Gadot as Diana Prince, Wonder Woman, and Chris Pine as Steve Trevor in Wonder Woman. Great action flick directed by Patty Jenkins, and also a great origin story of Wonder Woman. Love this movie. This movie got a lot of backlash, but this movie also had some production problems, and not production problems that someone could control, because no one could have controlled this at all. They should have just shut the picture down and picked it up later. During principal photography, I believe it was, Zack Snyder directed this movie. Well, he had to leave while shooting this film because of a family emergency that was out of his control and that I wouldn't wish on anybody. And Joss Whedon came in and tried to pick up the pieces, but he kind of made it a jumbled up mess. But it serves its purpose. I liked the film overall. There's parts of it I don't like, but most of it I do enjoy, and I think it's a great film. I hope and wish there's a Snyder Cut that's out there that we'll see one day. But if not, I'm happy with this version that we got of Justice League. I'm going to get shit for saying what I'm about to say, and that is, I think this film is even better than the first Avengers film. But I'm a DC guy, so Justice League. Then we have Jason Momoa in his solo film as Arthur Curry, Aquaman. Saw this in theaters and loved it. This movie was just an all-around good superhero movie, but it was more of a family film that touches on how important family is, and that, you know, no matter where you come from, that family can be people other than blood related. And that is Shazam. And this was directed by David F. Sandberg, who's done some other great films that I have loved. I don't have a lot of his stuff in my collection, but I will get it as soon as I can. So yeah, Shazam. Okay, let's talk about some monster movies. How about Kong, Skull Island? I liked this movie. I liked what they were trying to do. I thought it flowed very well, had a lot of good scenes. I love the cinematography in this film. It was directed by Jordan Roberts. I hope I said that right. Well, what's neat about this film is it has 3 stars from the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's got Samuel L. Jackson, who plays Nick Fury. It has Tom Hiddleston, who plays Loki, and it has Brie Larson, who plays Captain Marvel. The only difference is Tom Hiddleston's kind of the star in this one, and Samuel L. Jackson is kind of the villain of this film. So, but yeah, overall, I loved this film. I loved John C. Reilly's character and his character's arc that he goes throughout the film. Really brilliant stuff right here. Kong Skull Island. Gareth Edwards, who directed Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. directed Godzilla in 2014. I liked this film overall. The only thing I didn't like about it is that the film was kind of dark, and they really didn't show the creature Godzilla all that much. I would have liked to have seen more of Godzilla on screen. We just kind of see him in shots where he's kind of in the shadows or covered up by smoke or something like that. So you don't see a whole lot of Godzilla in this film, which was kind of a disappointment. Then we have Godzilla, King of the Monsters. This was a good Godzilla film. I liked where they were going with it and what they were trying to do. However, I didn't really understand the very ending. Like, there's a scene, it's like either in mid-credits or after credits. I really didn't know what it meant and what they were where they think they're gonna go with it. I mean, I guess they could do something with it, I don't know, but that part I didn't get. But overall, it's a great looking film, an action-packed film, a lot of good characters in this film. So yeah, Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Okay, how about some horror movies? Let's talk about some horror movies, shall we? I didn't like the first one, and if I ever get the first one, like I won't buy it, but like let's say someone gives it to me, I'll probably keep it. I won't throw it away, but it's not one of my favorites. The second one I really liked, I just haven't bought it yet, but I did buy the third one in this trilogy, and it's part of the Conjuring universe, Annabelle Comes Home. And this is another story about Ed and Lorraine Warren that takes place inside their home about the doll Annabelle. And it's a really good film. I really liked it overall. The one complaint I have about this film is Judy Warren, who's the daughter of Ed and Lorraine Warren in this film. She's played by McKenna Grace, and in the Conjuring films, she's played by a little girl named Sterling Jerens. I mean, McKenna Grace is great in this film, but I wish they would have kept the continuity and brought Sterling Jerens in to reprise her role as Judy Warren. But other than that, that's really the only complaint I have about this film. This was a Guillermo del Toro production, but it was directed by Andy Muschietti. It's called Mama, and it's about two girls who get lost out in the woods after their father's car crashes and he dies, and they're out there for a really, really long time, and then someone finds them and brings them to live with their aunt and uncle. But things are kind of weird, and the girls are talking to this weird entity-like thing they call Mama. And sort of a weird, kind of creepy movie. But I liked where they were going with it. It was really weird. But yeah, Mama. Another film that's part of the Conjuring universe that stars the lady from Scooby-Doo, the live-action movies, who played Velma, and she also played Hawkeye's wife in Avengers: Age of Ultron and Avengers Endgame. I can't think of that woman's name off the top of my head. And that film is The Curse of La Llorona. I really enjoyed this film. It's not as good as the Conjuring movies or the second or third Annabelle movie, but I like it for what it was and what it's trying to do. Will we get a sequel to this movie? There's been talk about it, but I don't know. But yeah, The Curse of La Llorona. My brother and I went to see this movie in theaters together, and I believe it was 2010 or 2011 when this film came out, or maybe it was 2014. I don't know. I can't remember. But me and him really enjoyed this film, Ouija. My cousin on my dad's side, his name is Will. When we were kids, my brother ended up getting like a play, not a real Ouija board, but a play Ouija board. And we really thought the whatever the eyepiece or whatever you call it was moving, but it was my cousin Will who was kind of being an asshole. We thought we were talking to this dude named Doug with the last name Buttmunch, but no, it was him just moving it around, making us think that it was moving on its own when it was really my cousin. So shame on you, Will. um, this is directed by James Wan, starring Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson as Ed and Lorraine Warren, who are investigating some mysterious things going on at this house that this couple and their 5 kids have just bought in The Conjuring. This movie takes a lot of things from the film The Exorcist, but it also brings its own stuff with it, and James Wan does a really good job, as does the actors and everybody who worked on the film. Love this movie. The Conjuring 2 is even better. Just the overall look of the film and what they were trying to do. I really enjoyed this film. This girl right here, man, she really knows how to act and bring her character or characters, because she has to do more than one thing, to life. And man, she did it 100%. She should have gotten an Oscar nomination for her role. The one that started it all in 1978 and in 2018 picks up 40 years later. John Carpenter's Halloween and David Gordon Green's Halloween 2018. This is the special Target edition with both these movies. This film got a lot of, I don't want to say backlash, but it didn't get the reviews it should have gotten, or the fan praise that it should have gotten. The story was kind of jumbled up. I appreciated what they were trying to do with the story, but yeah, it lacks, I don't know, it just lacks something. But the characters really do a good job with their roles, and especially Jackie Earle Haley, who knew he was coming into some big shoes that were once filled by Robert Englund with the character of Freddy Krueger, and that is the 2010 reboot of A Nightmare on Elm Street. I really enjoyed his portrayal of Freddy. Great movie, minus the kind of crappy story and plot. In 2009, another horror franchise was being rebooted and turned into not just another origin story reboot, but it kind of reboots the first movie, the second movie, and the third movie. It kind of goes through all 3 stages in this one movie with the story of Pamela Voorhees, and then Jason, Baghead Jason, and then Hockey Mask Jason, and that is Friday the 13th. Then we have the original Friday the 13th that was directed by Sean S. Cunningham, that starred Betsy Palmer and Adrienne King, and what's his name? Kevin Bacon. So yeah, the very first one. Great movie. And of course I have Halloween 2018 on Blu-ray. I also have the Steelbook Blu-ray edition of Halloween 2018. This movie is kind of a blend of like robotics and cloning and scientific research and things that are illegal that are not supposed to go on, but that go on anyway in this film. After Keanu Reeves loses his family, he tries to clone them back using advanced stages of science, and there's also robotics in this film as well, and that is replicas. When I bought this, or when I first saw this, I remember this guy when I bought it who checked me out at Walmart. He said, "Oh, you want to enjoy that movie?" And I said, "Well, why is that?" He said, "All it is just like the starting up point of the film I, Robot." And I have to disagree. It's not that at all. And then we have one I talked about that I have on DVD as well that I talked about in my last video, the rebels stealing the Death Star plans. Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Then we have the first prequel movie to the 1979 Ridley Scott classic Alien, which starred Sigourney Weaver, Prometheus. There was a lot of love and hate towards this movie. A lot of fans liked it, a lot of fans hated it, and it's kind of a mixed bag with fans. I liked it, but then I didn't like it. I appreciated what Ridley Scott was trying to do. The story is solid most of the time, but it raises a lot of questions that it doesn't answer. Most of the characters are good, minus one. I thought the CG and the cinematography in this film were just flat out amazing. You know, if you aren't a sci-fi fan, you should at least watch this movie just for the cinematography and the CGI. I mean, it's amazing in this film. Then we have the sequel to Prometheus, which is still part of the prequel Alien films, and that is Alien Covenant. This movie I thought was a lot better than Prometheus. I enjoyed all the actors and their characters. I wish one character we would have seen more of is Captain Branson, played by James Franco, but he dies like just really quickly at the beginning of the movie. We see more of David 8 from Prometheus, and we learn about what happened to him and Dr. Elizabeth Shaw. But this film does raise more questions, but it answers a lot of those questions, and it does answer most of the questions that were left unanswered in Prometheus. So all in all, I really, really enjoyed this film. And they bring back some of the Jerry Goldsmith Alien score, which that I loved. So yeah, Alien Covenant. James Cameron's groundbreaking film, no, not Titanic, but Avatar. I liked this movie. I liked what it was going for, but I think it's a little overrated. I did see it in theaters in 3D, and it was good. I enjoy watching it from time to time. Most of the actors and characters are okay. Sam Worthington, he's not one of my favorite actors. I think his acting performance could be a lot better in the films that he does. James Cameron brings back the lady herself from his film Aliens, the lovely, beautiful, hot-smoking lady Sigourney Weaver. Man, she's beautiful and so fine. Even at her age today, oh my gosh. Gosh, that woman's beautiful. And I fell in love with her ever since I saw Ghostbusters and the first Alien movie, and I have been in love with her ever since. So I will give the movie praise because it has Sigourney Weaver in it. Okay, guys, I am at the halfway point. I'm going to stop and I'm going to go get me something to drink and take a quick break. And if you guys need to do the same, get a drink or get something to eat or just kind of stretch your legs or use the restroom, now's your chance to do that. I will be back with the second part in just a few minutes, so stay tuned.
Stronger, faster, sharper. Brace yourself. For the Superman Motion Picture Anthology in high-definition Blu-ray.
Hey, look who's back! Easy, miss. I've got you.
You've got me! Who's got you?
Experience the legend.
Superman?
me.
The hero.
Way to go, Superman!
And the man. Like you've never seen before. In state-of-the-art, all-new, digitally remastered high-definition Blu-ray.
Okay guys, it's Wade. I'm back from break and ready to continue talking about movies. So let's start with a shark movie. How about being trapped down beneath the sea in a shark cage and your air is running out? 47 meters down. Great shark movie. A serious shark movie. Before we got this one, it was just most shark movies though before this were just crap and yeah, just overall bad. So yeah, 47 meters down. This one was not as good as the first one, but it's okay. 47 meters down, uncaged. I don't have all of these movies on Blu-ray yet. I just have these two, but I will get the others hopefully soon. Bride of Chucky. It was an okay film. I enjoyed it for what it was. It was still kind of dark and serious with humor in it, but yeah, not a bad film. Bride of Chucky. Now, Seed of Chucky, don't ever watch that. And then, after the god-awful thing that we got, which was Seed of Chucky, they decided to go back and get more serious with the Chucky movies, and we got Curse of Chucky. Now, the one after this, Cult of Chucky, I didn't like it. I thought it was just stupid, so I'm not even going to ever own that one. How about a scary movie about a child who is being taken over by another person, The Prodigy. I saw this in theaters. Really creepy movie. There were some things I could have done without, but overall I liked this film. So, you better believe in Santa Claus and you better be good, because if you're not, Santa Claus won't come to see you to bring Christmas presents. He will. Krampus. Great film. Kind of a cozy, scary, creepy movie, but good Christmas horror movie. Really liked it. How about an evil Superman kid, huh? Brightburn. I saw this in theaters and I really enjoyed it. There's been talk by James Gunn, who kind of got this film off the ground. It wasn't directed by James Gunn, it was directed by David Yarbeski, but James Gunn kind of helped bring it all together. There's been talk by him and the filmmakers about doing a sequel to Brightburn, and I hope that comes true. I would love to see, I forgot what the kid's name is in this film is, Brandon something. But anyway, yeah, I would love to see that character again. Great movie. This movie was very, I don't want to say controversial, but everyone was kind of leery about it, thinking, what can they do with this that's going to be new compared to the original films? This is a reboot film, and it is the Child's Play reboot that had the voice of Mark Hamill as Chucky, and they did it not by voodoo and such, but with technology. And it was really good, very well done. I really enjoyed this movie, and the kid who plays Andy Barclay, Gabriel Bateman, oh my gosh, he's so good. I've seen him in other stuff. He is a great, great actor. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with when he gets older. He already is, as far as his acting talents and abilities, and his sister as well. His sister's a good actress as well. So, yeah, Child's Play. Emily Blunt and John Krasinski directed by John Krasinski, in A Quiet Place. This was a very interesting and different kind of horror sci-fi movie, mainly horror though. I enjoyed it for what it was and what they were trying to do with it. It's almost like a silent movie. We were supposed to get a sequel to A Quiet Place, and that sequel was ready to come out about a few weeks ago. And then, of course, we got hit with this coronavirus stuff, and the theaters shut down, and they started canceling and postponing movies, and that's one of the ones that got pushed back. So we'll get A Quiet Place Part 2 sometime. I don't know when, though, but I hope once this is all over with, which I hope is soon, we'll be able to get back to the theaters. So, yeah, A Quiet Place. How about a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away? Star Wars, the prequel trilogy. We have Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom Menace, Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. And Revenge of the Sith is the best movie of the prequels, I believe. Then we have the original trilogy. We have Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, the one that got it started in 1977. Then we have Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, and then Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. And then we have the sequel trilogy. Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. Wade, why don't you have Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi? Because I do not like that movie. I cannot believe that script was approved for that to be the movie that was shot and given to an audience. I think for that decision, Kathleen Kennedy should be fired. I don't think Rian Johnson should ever be able to work in Hollywood ever again. I think The Last Jedi is pure fucking garbage. And then J.J. Abrams, who directed The Force Awakens, came back to try and salvage what he could and give audiences a good Episode 9, Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Based on a true story, after September 11th, 2001, 12 Strong, starring Chris Hemsworth. Liam Neeson in Taken. This movie was okay. It wasn't great, but I appreciated what they were trying to do with it. Bumblebee. One of the greatest movies of 2019. I saw this in theaters and I loved every minute of it. Based on a true story, Breakthrough. Then another Christian movie that came out the same year that I saw in theaters, Overcomer. I do think that Breakthrough is a better movie, but this was really good as well. San Andreas Fault being activated and turning California into one of the biggest earthquakes ever. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in San Andreas. You're going to need a bigger boat. Jaws. The masterpiece. This movie started the summer blockbuster and put Steven Spielberg's career on the map. Jaws. Then we have another serious shark movie that came out a couple of years ago, starring Jason Statham, The Meg. Then we have a film from the late 1990s, Thomas Jane, LL Cool J, Michael Rapport, and Samuel L. Jackson in Deep Blue Sea. This is a movie I saw in theaters that I really, really enjoyed, and I'm so glad I have it on Blu-ray and DVD now. The Book of Henry. Such a great, great film. This movie, not a lot of people liked. I liked it. I thought the music was wonderful. I thought all the actors did a great job. And yeah, I just thought it was an interesting concept. Geostorm. Spared no expense. Welcome to Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park. A Steven Spielberg film. Classic stuff right here. Another Steven Spielberg film that a lot of people didn't like. I think this movie is great. I think it's a great follow-up to Jurassic Park. The Lost World, Jurassic Park. Then we have the one that kind of brought it down a little bit, not directed by Steven Spielberg, Jurassic Park 3. Then we have, it wasn't a reboot film, but it was kind of, it was following the first movie, but what I didn't like about it is they were trying to retcon 2 and 3 out of it. 3 I understand. 2 was such a great movie. I don't know why they're trying to retcon that one out of the series. But I liked this movie for what it was. Jurassic World. This movie, I don't know if at first they had 2 different directors or maybe different scripts, but it felt like this was 2 different movies trying to tie into one whole story, and it just didn't work. I mean, it's okay in parts, but it was just all over the place. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Okay, let's talk about some Disney movies. One of my favorites from when I was a child, and now I own it on Blu-ray, The Little Mermaid. Loved this movie. Still love this movie to this day. I hear they're going to try and make a live-action Little Mermaid, and with the cast they have and what I've heard about it, it's probably going to be like the live-action Lion King for me. I'm probably going to hate it. But this one I absolutely adore. I loved this movie when I first saw it in '91, and I've loved it ever since then, and I love to watch it every now and then. Beauty and the Beast. You know who my favorite character is in this? Is Lumiere, the candle guy. He is my favorite character in this movie. The Lion King. Okay, so a story about this one real quick is this came out in 94 or 95, I think it was 94. I saw it twice in theaters, and right around the time this came out, my grandfather on my mom's side, his name is Donald H. Red Lewis, we called him Daddy Red, he passed away with colon cancer, and at the end of this film, when Simba finally takes his place on Proud Rock as he's walking up the rock there, and you hear that emotional music playing, that I always had this picture in my head of him entering the kingdom of heaven with Christ welcoming my grandfather to heaven. So kind of a special movie for me. And I have to give a shout out to my cousin Shelby, who, Shelby, if you're watching this, she was a fanatic about this movie. She loved this movie. She was obsessed with this movie. And I can understand why. It's a great film. But this is the film she was obsessed with as a child, and the film I was obsessed with as a child was the 1989 Batman movie that starred Michael Keaton. Let It Go, Let It Go, Frozen. So, yeah, I really enjoyed this film. The only thing I didn't like about it was Olaf. I think because the guy who does the voice for him, I can't stand that guy. um, Josh Gad. So, but yeah, overall, great film. My favorite character in this film is Sven, the reindeer. Supers, The Incredibles. Great, great, great movie for any time of the year. My favorite character in this movie, she's on the back right there, Edna Mode. See her? She's so funny. The Incredibles 2. Not as good as the first one, but still a really great movie. Jack, the baby right there, he steals the show in this movie. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Moana. I only saw this movie once. I don't remember a lot of it, but I went ahead and bought it. I'll have to watch it again soon. Saw this movie in theaters, and I was unsure about it at first, and I came out of the theater loving this movie. The live-action Aladdin. Will Smith as the genie was awesome, and Naomi Scott as Jasmine was really good. The only thing that bothered me about this movie was the actor who played Jafar. I just didn't buy him as Jafar. I didn't think he was too menacing enough. They should have gotten someone who could really bring the really evil out as the character of Jafar. And I just don't think the guy who played Jafar in this film, I don't think he did it justice. So, anyway. And we have the live action Beauty and the Beast. I saw this twice in theaters, loved every minute of it. And again, with the live action, my favorite character is Lumiere. Great performances, great film, great score, great music, great everything. Okay, how about some action movies, guys? Are y'all ready for some action movies? Dr. Pepper, great stuff. Helen Hunt, Bill Paxton, Chasing Tornadoes, Twister. Rest in peace, Bill Paxton. True story about an oil rig that blew up and spilled millions of gallons of oil into the Gulf of Mexico. Directed by Peter Berg, starring Mark Wahlberg, Kurt Russell, Kate Hudson, John Malkovich, and more. Deepwater Horizon. Great movie. Another Peter Berg film starring Mark Wahlberg, based on a true story. Lone Survivor. Great movie. I have not yet seen this movie. I didn't see it in theaters, and I haven't watched it yet on Blu-ray. It was given to me for Christmas several years ago, and I still haven't watched it. What's interesting about it is the main girl from the Scream movies, Neve Campbell, is in this. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, starring in Skyscraper. What if Superman was on Earth, but he didn't know he was Superman? Starring Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson. Written and directed by M. Night Shyamalan. Unbreakable. Fascinating movie. Loved this movie. Then we have the sequel to Unbreakable, starring James McAvoy, directed by M. Night Shyamalan. Split. James McAvoy should have been nominated or even won an Oscar for all the different personalities he had to portray with his characters in this film. I mean, it was amazing to see. And the third and final chapter of the M. Night Shyamalan superhero series, Glass, starring Samuel L. Jackson, James McAvoy, and Bruce Willis. It kind of ties all those first two stories up in a nice little bow. I liked this film, but then I didn't like it. One of the things I didn't like about it was some of the shots during the fight scenes. point of view and the handheld camera, it was just something about it I just didn't like. So, but it's an okay film. I wish it would have been better. How about terrorists taking over the White House? That would be scary, wouldn't it? These kind of movies always make me think, could something like that actually happen in real life? God, I hope not. We have Gerald Butler, Aaron Eckhart, Morgan Freeman in Olympus Has Fallen. I saw this in theaters. Man, what a great action movie, and what a emotional movie, too. Kind of scary at the same time. Then we have the follow-up to that movie, a movie which I didn't think at first was as good as the first one, but then I watched it several times, so I was like, you know what, it is almost as good as Olympus Has Fallen. London Has Fallen, starring Gerald Butler, Aaron Eckhart, and Morgan Freeman. Then we have the third movie in the Fallen series, not as good as the first two, Gerald Butler and Morgan Freeman in Angel Has Fallen. Then we have another Peter Berg movie with Mark Wahlberg. This is not one that's based on a true story, but just a kind of a fast-paced, high-octane action movie with guns. Mark Wahlberg in Mile 22. So I have all the rest of these movies on Blu-ray, or not Blu-ray, sorry, jeez, DVD, but I have this one on Blu-ray. I don't watch this one for story per se, I just watch it because it's a pretty good action film, and I appreciate some of the things they were trying to do, and the fact that Linda Hamilton is back as Sarah Connor and Arnold Schwarzenegger is in it. Terminator Dark Fate. So Rambo 4 I thought was a great ending to the series and that character. I thought finally he's made it back home, the series is done. Well, then they announced they were going to do another one years later, and they ended up doing it. And I'm kind of glad that wasn't the end, because I really enjoyed this film. Sylvester Stallone in Rambo Last Blood. God, it's such a good movie. I had the others on DVD, but I bought this one on Blu-ray and DVD. I've rented this and I have seen it, but I just haven't opened my copy of it. Matt Damon in Jason Bourne, the fourth installment in the Bourne series. We're not counting the Bourne Legacy. That movie sucked. I Am Hercules! Hercules, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Pretty good film. Kevin Hart, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in Central Intelligence. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is a pretty cool character in this movie. I really liked his character. So this movie is based on a series of movies that came out in like the 70s or early 80s that starred the actor Charles Bronson. I didn't really like those films, but I did like this reboot of the first movie. Bruce Willis in Death Wish. I thought this was a brilliantly done movie. And I think Bruce Willis was the right choice for this movie. My all-time favorite movie, Billy Bob Thornton, Bruce Willis, Liv Tyler, Ben Affleck, directed by Michael Bay, stopping an asteroid from destroying everything on Earth, Armageddon. Love, love, love this movie. My all-time favorite movie. I have another asteroid or comet movie starring Robert Duvall, Tia Leone, Elijah Wood, and Morgan Freeman in Deep Impact. I got to see this one in theaters. Sadly, though, I did not get to see Armageddon in theaters. But this one was really good as well, but not as good as Armageddon. Liam Neeson, another action movie for him. Air Marshal on a Plane. Non-stop. Great, high-octane, action-packed movie. Loved it. Not as good as Non-Stop, but still a good Liam Neeson action movie, The Commuter. All right, let's talk about some Tom Cruise movies. Mission Impossible. I wasn't a big fan of the first one. It was okay for what it was, but it wasn't my favorite one. Mission Impossible 2. This is my favorite one of the series. Loved the story of this movie. I love the action. I love the characters. I love the look of the film. Just great, great action. Directed by John Woo. Mission Impossible 2. Directed by J.J. Abrams. Starring, of course, Tom Cruise, Ving Rhames, Lawrence Fishburne, and Kerry Russell. Mission Impossible 3. Not as good as Mission Impossible 2, but almost. This one was really good, and it has a really just nail-biting, edge-of-your-seat sequence where Tom Cruise is climbing this really tall building in Dubai. Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Wasn't big on this Mission Impossible movie. It has one really good sequence, and it was the chase sequence. Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. And the last one that came out a couple of years ago, Mission Impossible Fallout, starring Tom Cruise and Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill makes a good bad guy. He makes a great Superman, but man, does he make a scary good bad guy. Before we know he's the bad guy in this film, he's acting like he's teamed up with Tom Cruise and his group, and there's a fight scene in this bathroom, and they're fighting, I think, this Chinese or Japanese guy, and him and Tom Cruise are just going to town on this guy, and this guy's going to town on them, and man, it's one of the most brutal fight scenes I've ever seen, and Henry Cavill and Tom Cruise make you believe that that fight is actually happening. I mean, that's how in your face it is. So, great film. Okay, guys, we got one more stack, and that is a stack of superhero movies. Are you ready? Let's go. This movie is based on the early 90s kids television show, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And in 2017, we got Saban's Power Rangers. There was supposed to be, after this movie, there was supposed to be 6 sequels that were going to happen, but this film didn't do very well, or didn't do as well as it should have done at the box office, which is disappointing. But a lot of people griped about this film, and I didn't. I thought it was done so well because they took their time with the characters, the kids, and they don't just throw them into the being Power Rangers at the very first of the movie. We get to interact with these kids. We see that they're regular kids, that they all have problems or come from maybe a broken home or something like that, and that they make mistakes or they get in trouble with the law, and we see them with their struggles, and yet we see them become friends and become more than that and become a team before they don the Ranger outfits. And whenever they do morph for the first time and get to use their powers and then call in the Megazord and the Zords and all that, we care about these kids and we care about what happens to them. So, they have arcs, they have backstories, which is great. I mean, it's kind of a slow burn type thing. And I appreciated it for what they tried to do with this film. I just wish people would have accepted that. So, will we ever get the 6 sequels? Probably not. So, but I enjoyed this film. This film had basically already been done in the film X-Men 3, so why they thought they needed to do it again, I don't know. I did like the overall story and the way the story went, but I mean, it's the same story, just told in a different way as X-Men 3, and that's X-Men Dark Phoenix. So, yeah. This movie actually was not released in theaters. It's a DC animated movie, and I saw it in Walmart, and I picked it up. And I've only watched it once, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, and that's Batman and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or Batman versus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Really good film. I enjoyed it. Wouldn't you love to see a live action movie like this? That'd be great. Best film out of the Wolverine trilogy for me, and I know I'm going to get shit for saying this, but this is my favorite one out of the 3 Wolverine films. X-Men Origins Wolverine. I saw it twice in theaters in Lubbock, Texas. Great, great movie. Then we have the second movie, which I liked. This movie, what I liked about it is you see the kind of beast and the kind of monster that Wolverine really is, especially during that fight after he gets his healing powers back when he fights Shingen, the Wolverine. So let's talk about Logan. I have a love-hate relationship with this movie because I just didn't like the tone of the movie. I like the setting and the look of the film, but it's just so damn depressing. I mean, these characters we've all loved and watched over the years, you know, they're dying, and I don't know. I just didn't like this film. And X-24, which is the Wolverine clone, I don't know if that happens in the comics or not. I'm not a big X-Men comic fan, but I love the movies. I just saw that as lazy writing. I thought this movie could have been way better than what it was. I know I'm going to get shit for saying this, but overall, this film is just, it's a good film, but it's not the greatest film, the greatest superhero movie as everyone claims it to be. I mean, it's not. I mean, I could name far better movies than this. Does Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart bring their A game? Oh, hell yeah. I love the new addition with Daphne Keane as Laura, X-23, but I don't know. And I love the violence in it. I mean, we actually see Wolverine get pretty nasty and brutal. But yeah, overall, fucking depressing movie. Andrew Garfield in the rebooted Spider-Man movies, The Amazing Spider-Man. Pretty good Spider-Man movie. I liked it. Was it the best Spider-Man movie? No, but it was still really good. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, kind of a jumbled up mess, but I appreciated what they were trying to do with it and where they were trying to take it. Does it have problems? Yeah. But it's not as bad as everyone says it is. If you want to see a bad Spider-Man film, then go watch these two. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which is god-awful, and then or Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3, which just needs to be burned in a hole somewhere. So yeah, this one's pretty good. A guilty pleasure movie of mine, Ghost Rider, starring Eva Mendes and Nicolas Cage as Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider. The CG is okay. I mean, you can tell it's not the best CG. The story was okay. I liked the story. I loved Sam Elliott in this film. But overall, it's really a guilty pleasure film. I hate the second one. The second one, Spirit of Vengeance, just sucks. I'll never own that movie. But what I'd like to see done with Ghost Rider for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they need to bring in Gabriel Luna's Ghost Rider from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and let him have a couple of movies and then bring him into Avengers 5. That would just be awesome. So, yeah, Ghost Rider. Ryan Reynolds, probably his best movie, Deadpool. Another Ryan Reynolds awesome movie, Deadpool 2. the very first group team-up movie ever that I know of, unless there's another one before this one, but I think this is the very first one. Marvel's The Avengers. Need I say more? A lot of people didn't like the sequel to The Avengers. I liked it. I mean, it's not as good as the first one, but it's still really good in what they were trying to do with it. And I like the fact that they brought in new characters to be a part of this team, The Avengers Age of Ultron. The Infinity War has begun. Thanos has begun his quest to get the Infinity Stones in Avengers Infinity War. And then the follow-up to that, the most funny, great story, emotional thrill ride ever in a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, Avengers Endgame. Love this film. Guardians of the Galaxy. Loved the look of the film. I loved the story. I loved the characters, the action. I just loved everything about this film. I am Groot. Not as good as the first one, but still, overall, I loved everything about it, just like the first one. Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 2. This movie faced some heavy backlash and criticism. Why? Because the main star tried to politicize this movie and throw in stuff she didn't need to throw in when she was interviewing and doing press for the movie. So, yeah, I think this movie suffered a little bit because Brie Larson couldn't keep her big fat trap shut. Overall, I liked the movie, though. I liked the fact that we got to see a young Nick Fury. I liked the fact that we got to see how Captain Marvel fits into all this. I liked that we got to see a young Phil Coulson. And overall, it was good, but I think it could have been a lot better. And I know it would have done better if Brie Larson hadn't politicized this movie. Captain Marvel. Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, and Michael Douglas, Ant-Man. Saw this in a theater in Victoria, Texas, and I loved every minute of it. Loved its sequel as well, Ant-Man and the Wasp. This movie was just, everything about it was awesome. I loved this movie. I love the fact that we have Chris Hemsworth, Idris Elba, Cate Blanchett, Tom Hiddleston, Mark Ruffalo, and Anthony Hopkins, and Jeff Goldblum in Thor Ragnarok. Everything about this movie was great. Great, great, great film. We get to see the arena battle between Thor and the Hulk. We get to see kind of a temper tantrum between Hulk and Thor. We get to see more of Thor and Loki working together. And we get to meet Korg and Miek and Valkyrie. And you just gotta love Jeff Goldblum in whatever he does. I mean, it's Jeff Goldblum. Thor Ragnarok, everybody. Didn't get to see this Marvel movie in theaters. I don't know why I didn't see it in theaters. I may have been busy, or I don't know. But I liked it for what it was, and I liked most everyone who starred in it. I thought Benedict Cumberbatch did a great job as this character, Doctor Strange, everybody. This character was introduced to us in Captain America Civil War. I thought his character was interesting, but I wanted to know more. But at the same time, I was unsure of how they were going to do this movie or what this movie was going to be and what it was going to look like. And overall, this movie is freaking amazing. I'm surprised this movie wasn't up for some Oscar nominations. It should have been. Black Panther. Okay, now Spider-Man enters the Marvel Cinematic Universe in Spider-Man Homecoming. I liked this movie. I liked the overall story. I liked Tom Holland as Peter Parker Spider-Man. I liked the new Mary Jane. I'm glad that we got Happy, even though he was kind of a jerk in this movie, Happy was. And Tony Stark's Iron Man was in it, so yeah. And Marissa Tomei, man, she's a good-looking Aunt May, so yeah. It had some slow moments, but overall, it's a fun Spider-Man movie. So yeah, Spider-Man Homecoming. And last but not least, we have Spider-Man Far From Home. Now I'm going to say something about this movie. I do like this movie. I like the new characters. I liked Mysterio. I like that Happy was in it. And the Mary Jane and Peter Parker relationship grew a little bit. And I do believe that that was actually Nick Fury and Maria Hill in this movie for the most part. I don't believe it was the Skrulls from Captain Marvel. I believe all of that was them, except for maybe at the end, maybe Nick Fury and Maria Hill just went on vacation. They didn't want to be found, so they went to the Skrulls ship or wherever they were, and they were officially on vacation. So, great Spider-Man film. Okay, guys, that's it. That is all my Blu-rays. I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making this video. Give me some comments. Do you have any of these movies in your collections? What are some of your favorite movies that I talked about? I hope you guys are doing well, stay healthy, stay isolated, stay quarantined. This will be over hopefully sooner rather than later. But I just want to say thank you to you guys, my viewers. You know, I do this for you guys, and I do it because I love it. So anyway, so yeah, that's it. If you're new to my channel, please go down to the bottom of this video and hit the subscribe button. Also hit the thumbs up and give me a like on this video. Be sure to hit the notification bell so you'll know when I have new stuff posted. And give me some comments. I love comments. And I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. So until then, good night. I love you. God bless, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.